The first knock came at exactly 3:13 in the morning. Not 3:12. Not 3:14. 3:13. Maya still remembered the sound. 3 slow knocks. Calm. Deliberate. Almost polite. At first, she thought it was one of her neighbors. Maybe someone drunk. Maybe someone lost. But when she looked through the peephole, the hallway was empty. Completely empty. The old apartment building was silent except for the soft buzzing of the ceiling lights. Maya waited another few seconds before unlocking the door. Slowly. Carefully. Nothing. No footsteps. No elevator movement. No sound at all. Just an empty hallway stretching into darkness. And at the very end of it, apartment 313 stood slightly open, even though she clearly remembered seeing it locked earlier that night. Maya shut her door immediately, and that's when she heard something that made her blood run cold. A soft voice, whispering from somewhere down the hallway. "Don't open the door tomorrow night." Then silence. Maya Collins moved into the building 2 weeks after her divorce finalized. 32 years old. No children. No family nearby. Just a small apartment on the 8th floor of an aging Chicago building called Graystone Heights. The rent was cheap. Too cheap. But Maya wasn't asking questions. After the divorce, she mostly wanted silence. The building itself felt old in a strange way. Not abandoned. Not dangerous. Just tired. Like something inside it had slowly given up years ago. The elevator groaned constantly. The hallway lights flickered at random. And every tenant avoided eye contact. Especially the people living near apartment 313. Maya noticed that almost immediately. Nobody ever stood near that door. Nobody walked too close to it. And nobody mentioned who lived there. At first, she assumed she was imagining things. Until the knocks began. The second night, the knocks came again. Exactly 3:13 a.m. 3 slow knocks. Maya froze in bed. This time, she didn't move immediately. The sound felt wrong somehow. Not aggressive. Not impatient. Just precise. Like someone performing a routine. Knock. 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 Then silence. Maya slowly checked her phone. 3:13. Again. A few moments later, she forced herself toward the door. Heart pounding. She looked through the peephole. Nobody. But this time, something else caught her attention. Apartment 313 was open again. Only slightly. A thin strip of darkness visible through the doorway. Maya stared at it for several seconds. Then suddenly, the apartment door slammed shut on its own. Hard. The noise echoed through the entire hallway. Maya stepped backward immediately. And for the first time since moving in, she genuinely felt unsafe. The following evening, Maya met an elderly woman named Mrs. Russo near the laundry room. She had lived in Graystone Heights for almost 20 years. Maya eventually mentioned the knocking. Mrs. Russo stopped folding her clothes. Her face changed instantly. 3:13. Maya nodded slowly. The old woman looked toward the hallway, then lowered her voice. "You're hearing him now." Maya laughed nervously. "Hearing who?" Mrs. Russo hesitated. "The man from apartment 313. Maya frowned. "Someone lives there?" The old woman stared silently for several seconds. "Not anymore." That night, Maya searched old news archives online. Eventually, she found an article dated 7 years earlier. A tenant named Daniel Mercer disappeared from apartment 313. No signs of forced entry. No body ever found. Neighbors reported hearing strange knocking sounds for weeks afterward, always at the same time. 3:13 a.m. Maya suddenly remembered something else. She had never actually seen anyone enter or leave apartment 313. Not once. On the 4th night, Maya decided to stay awake. She made coffee around midnight, turned off every light except the kitchen lamp, and waited. The building sounded different late at night. Older. The pipes inside the walls groaned constantly. Sometimes, it almost sounded like whispering. At 1:40 a.m., someone used the elevator. Maya heard it stop on her floor. The metal doors opened, then closed, but no footsteps followed. Nobody walked down the hallway. that made her more uncomfortable than the knocking itself. At 2:30, she checked the peephole again. The hallway was empty. Apartment 313 remained dark, still, silent. Then exactly at 3:13, the knocks came again. Knock, knock, knock. This time, Maya ripped the door open immediately. The hallway was empty, but apartment 313 stood wide open, completely dark inside. Maya should have walked away. Every instinct told her to. Instead, she stepped closer. The apartment smelled damp, like old water damage. Dust covered most of the floor, except for one narrow trail. Fresh footprints, leading toward the bedroom. Maya's breathing became shallow. She noticed something else. The apartment wasn't actually abandoned. Someone had recently been inside. A coffee mug sat near the kitchen sink, still wet. An old radio near the wall gave off soft static. And on the dining table, she found dozens of newspaper clippings, all connected to missing persons cases. Every victim lived alone. Every victim disappeared during the night. And every article had the same number written across it in black marker. 313. Maya stepped backward immediately. Then suddenly, she heard movement behind her. The hallway lights flickered violently. For one brief second, she saw a tall man standing near the elevator, watching her. Still, unmoving. The lights flickered again, and he appeared closer, much closer. Maya froze. The man looked pale, thin, his face partially hidden in darkness. But his eyes looked terrified, like he was trying to warn her. Then darkness swallowed the hallway completely. When the lights stabilized again, he was gone. Maya ran back into her apartment and locked the door, shaking uncontrollably. She barely slept. Every sound inside the building suddenly felt alive. Pipes, elevators, distant footsteps. And sometime around 4 in the morning, she heard knocking again. But this time, it wasn't coming from her apartment door. It was coming from inside the wall beside her bed. 3 slow knocks, right beside her head. Later that morning, she checked the phone recording. At exactly 3:13 a.m., the camera briefly distorted. Static flooded the screen. And during those few seconds, a voice whispered clearly into the recording. He's still here. The next day, Maya barely left her apartment. Dark circles formed beneath her eyes. Every time the elevator stopped on her floor, her chest tightened. By evening, she finally confronted the building manager, a tired middle-aged man named Leonard. At first, he denied everything, but eventually, he admitted Daniel Mercer had vanished from apartment 313 years earlier. Police suspected suicide, but no evidence was ever found. Then Leonard said something strange. Before he disappeared, Daniel kept reporting someone knocking on his door every night. Maya felt sick. At 3:13, Leonard nodded silently. He looked exhausted, like he'd repeated this conversation many times before. Then Maya noticed something disturbing. Leonard's office walls were covered with security monitors. Most of them showed empty hallways, except one, the camera outside apartment 313. The screen constantly flickered with static. That camera never works properly after midnight, Leonard muttered. Maya stared at the monitor. For one brief second, a shadow moved across the hallway. Tall, human, then static again. Who was Daniel Mercer? Maya asked quietly. Leonard hesitated, then sighed heavily. A writer. Lived alone for years. Toward the end, he stopped sleeping. He said someone was living inside the walls. Maya felt cold, because she remembered the knocking beside her bed. Leonard slowly opened a desk drawer. Inside sat an old cassette recorder. Daniel gave me this 2 days before he vanished, he said. Maya pressed play. At first, only static, then breathing, heavy, terrified breathing, and finally, Daniel's voice. Weak, exhausted. If anyone hears this, don't answer the knocking. 3 loud knocks suddenly exploded through the recording. Maya nearly dropped the cassette. Then Daniel whispered one final sentence. It learns your routine first. The recording ended abruptly. Silence filled the office. Leonard handed Maya an old maintenance key. If you hear the knocks again, check the maintenance hallway behind apartment 313. You'll understand. That night, Maya turned off every light in her apartment. No television. No music. Nothing. She sat silently beside the front door with her phone, recording running beside her. Waiting. The storm outside had grown worse. Rain slammed against the windows hard enough to shake the glass. The old building groaned constantly around her. Then, exactly at 3:13 a.m., knock, knock, knock. Maya's eyes immediately locked onto the door. Same rhythm, same calm sound, almost patient. This time, she didn't hesitate. She opened the door instantly. Empty hallway. Again. But apartment 313 stood open wider than before. Darkness spilling into the corridor. Waiting. Maya slowly stepped inside. The apartment felt colder than the rest of the building. The air smelled damp. Rotten. Like something had been sealed there for years. Near the bedroom wall, she noticed faint scratches beside the baseboard. Fresh scratches. As if someone had been dragging their nails across the wood from the inside. Using Leonard's maintenance key, Maya forced open a narrow hidden panel behind the wall. A passageway revealed itself immediately. Thin, claustrophobic, barely wide enough for a person to move through. Maya used her phone flashlight and stepped inside. The deeper she walked, the quieter the world became. Until eventually, the only sound left was breathing. Not hers. Someone else's. Close. Very close. The walls around her were covered in writing. Hundreds of sentences scratched directly into the wood. He watches through the walls. Don't answer the door. He learns your routine. And over again, the same message repeated across the corridor. 313. Maya's breathing became shaky. Then her flashlight revealed something horrifying. Tiny openings hidden between the walls. Small enough to stay unnoticed. Large enough for someone to watch the apartments. Bedrooms. Living rooms. Hallways. Someone had been secretly observing tenants from inside the walls for years. Learning them. Studying them. Maya suddenly understood everything. The knocking. The timing. The silence afterward. It wasn't random. Whoever lived inside the walls already knew exactly when people would open the door. Then, she heard movement ahead. Slow footsteps scraping against the narrow corridor floor. Maya froze. The footsteps stopped too. Complete silence filled the darkness. And then, a voice whispered directly in front of her. So you finally opened it. Maya raised her flashlight with trembling hands. For one brief second, the beam revealed a pale man standing motionless inside the corridor. Thin, sunken eyes, skin almost gray. And behind him, more faces slowly emerged from the darkness. Watching silently, Maya screamed. Her flashlight dropped. The corridor instantly went black. She ran blindly toward the apartment, slamming into the walls as footsteps rushed behind her. Fast now. No longer calm. No longer patient. Maya barely escaped back into the hallway before the lights exploded overhead. Glass rained onto the floor. And then, everything stopped. Silence. The next morning, police searched the hidden corridor behind apartment 313. What they found made local headlines for weeks. Human remains, old sleeping bags, food containers, dozens of hidden observation holes inside the walls. But no sign of the people Maya had seen. Authorities claimed stress and exhaustion caused hallucinations. They said Daniel Mercer likely died alone inside the maintenance tunnels years earlier. Case closed. But Maya knew what she saw, because 3 nights after moving out, she received an audio file from an unknown number. No message, no caller ID, just a recording. Maya pressed play. At first, only static, then breathing, slow, calm, patient, and finally, 3 quiet knocks. Knock, knock, knock. Some doors are locked for a reason. Some buildings should stay forgotten. And sometimes, the scariest thing isn't what's inside the room. It's what's been quietly watching you the entire time. If you enjoyed tonight's psychological thriller, subscribe to Blackwood Files. New dark mystery stories every week. And remember, every file hides a darker truth. Good night.